There are still good judges in the United States. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. In this case, it is Judge Juan Merchan who was in charge. He oversaw the Trump trial where Donald Trump was convicted of 34 felony counts. He is, in fact, our convict-in-chief, reelected, a multiple serial felon, Donald Trump. Here's the CNN headline: Judge rules Trump does not have presidential immunity protections in hush money conviction. Now look, it depends on what judge this gets to when it's appealed, because invariably it's going to be appealed. But if this gets before the correct judge for Donald Trump, this could be overturned. And this might be even taken all the way up to the Supreme Court. Who knows? I don't know exactly how the mechanisms work for this kind of a case that originated in a state court. I don't know. It does have to do with the federal ruling of the Supreme Court that Donald Trump has immunity for official acts as president of the United States. And Donald Trump is going to argue, that this is covered by presidential immunity, that him paying his lawyer to pay a porn star off that he had sex with while his wife was pregnant is a presidential official act, and therefore covered under immunity. And then their secondary argument is that having sentencing while he's president is too much of a hindrance on the presidency of the United States of America, thus hurting the country. Here's the article from CNN. Donald Trump's felony conviction in the New York hush money case should not be tossed out because of the Supreme Court's ruling on presidential immunity, Judge Juan Merchan ruled Monday. Merchan's decision rejected one of the several avenues that Trump's lawyers have taken to try to dismiss Trump's May guilty verdict on 34 counts of falsifying business records. The judge did not, however, rule on a motion from Trump's attorneys to dismiss the conviction because Trump has now been elected president. Imagine that that's what you got to do if you're under threat of conviction or have been convicted, or you're under threat of sentencing for those convictions. You just run for president, get elected, and then poof, all of your criminality is ignored. So you can get on to the business of ruining the country, ignoring the Constitution, and dismissing democracy. Instead, his 41-page decision focused on the question of presidential immunity. Merchan wrote, the Supreme Court's ruling that Trump should receive broad immunity for official acts during his time in office did not mean the conviction should be dismissed, ruling that the evidence presented by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office was not related to Trump's official conduct as president. The evidence contested by Trump's lawyers, the judge wrote, related, quote, entirely to unofficial conduct and should receive no immunity protections. Quote, this court concludes that if error occurred regarding the introduction of the challenged evidence, such error was harmless in light of the overwhelming evidence of guilt, Merchan wrote. Quote, even if this court did find that the disputed evidence constitutes official acts under the auspices of the Trump decision, which it does not, defendant's motion is still denied as introduction of the disputed evidence constitutes harmless error and no mode of proceedings error has taken place. Trump transition spokesman and future communications director in the White House, Stephen Chung, said this, Merchan's decision is a direct violation of the Supreme Court's decision on immunity and other long-standing jurisprudence, says legal expert, Trump bootlicker, Stephen Chung. Trump's lawyers are likely to appeal Merchan's decision, one of several potential motions for dismissal that could leave the case tied up for months or even years. Merchan still has to rule on Trump's argument that his status as president was a legal impediment to further criminal proceedings, and the case should be dismissed as a result. And then final paragraph here. Trump has yet to be sentenced following his May conviction. I just want to drive home the point that Donald Trump is a felon. He's a convict. He's a criminal. And he's president-elect. Trump has yet to be sentenced following his May conviction. Prosecutors have already agreed that the president-elect would not be sentenced while he is in office, but the district attorney's office has argued in legal filings that the felony conviction that Trump had bestowed upon him should still stand. Prosecutors wrote that while the sentence could be delayed or modified, dismissing a jury's conviction altogether would be an unwarranted extreme remedy, is what they said. Anyway, so some good news. If I'm making predictions here that nobody's asking for, it is that Donald Trump's going to die before this actually comes to fruition. He's going to die in office because he's an old, unhealthy man, and he's going to escape consequence that way. One way or the other, Donald Trump's going to get out of the trouble. And this is all because of the fact that he's been sent back to the White House. If he had lost the election, moot point, I know. Wishful thinking, I know. If he had lost the election, Donald Trump, we wouldn't be in this situation. Donald Trump would be awaiting sentencing. He may have already been sentenced for the case, but because a scant, tiny majority of American voters saw fit to put this dipshit back in office, they're giving him a get-out-of-jail-free card. Literally. Anyway, what do you think? I'd love to know. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054, or you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Please consider supporting this work. Helping support independent media, very important in this time, as evidenced by this particular story. You can click the join button below, become a channel member for $2 a month right here on YouTube. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Both those are fantastic ways to help support this work. Go over to dollemore.info. That is where the merch awaits you. That's where it's stored. It's not stored there. It's stored elsewhere, but you can get a mug or a sticker or a t-shirt. Every purchase goes a long way. Dollemore.info. Follow me on social media. I know I'm plugging everything here. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore. I'd love to see you. And I will see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.